Rosemary Chigora say marble bed kashiri ndeipi Jane Wamiridza say Sharon Chukukwa say Bridget Kapinde ndeipi Mary Ties Tsongabere ndeipi Antiseka irinyowa muri say I'm doing good. My B Maps, my personal person, how are you? Ashley Muyambo ndeipi V Marilyn ndeipi. Thank you. And my B Maps, nice to see you today. I'm glad to be here as well. Patience Chipoma Panga ndeipi Makanaka Nyoni ndeipi Lizzie Susan ndeipi. Muri say guys, Talent Dowera ndeipi Salomon Kwaramba ndeipi Martha Taruinga Susan Mbiba ndeipi Evelyn Warirai Ethel Mutambirwa Clio Nyashagomo Shupi ndokumbira wane namba dzefoni inika kuti andinyorerewo. Munomboza kuti handidziziwe bhuku rangu ndarishaya. My sister was here nemwana saka kuti rakanyorwa ere vachita homework dzavo rikaiswa somewhere I don't know. Nolia Madzinga Gumbe, how are you? Shorai Mvura ndeipi Patience Veterai ndeipi Duduzile Benadette Ngwenya ndeipi ndokumbira wane number andinyorere G Auntie G Mafana, how are you? Happy Easter to you too. Trudy ndeipi ane number ndokumbira wandisirewo. Dalubuhle Dingube ndeipi kwai muri sei Sisi Melly. It's actually Auntie Selina. Clara Machemedza ndeipi Angela Linda hi ndeipi Happy Easter. Tetez Chaizo, hey Auntie Selina and Diaries. Love you all. Love you back, Aunt Teteza. Sandra Draka ndeipi. Taga someone, atage or someone. As we are going to talk about mental health issues. Silojo ndeipi. Brian Mudzenda ndeipi. Ndiri kukumbira o number. Imi vanuka. Sandibeki Murata. Mafuse Felistas ndeipi. Lizzie Musaidzi ndeipi. Lucy Mbaiwa ndeipi. Placedes Domingo ndeipi. Chuma Catherine Tsitsi, how are you? Grace Morrison ndeipi. Tinashe ndikangona number takutotanga live so that I can pin it and it doesn't distract me. It's 444 something. I don't honestly remember it. My MJ, how are you? Sean Chico, how are you? Sean Chico, that should be my son. That should be Sean Chikomborero. Ndeipi Sean. Ropa Fadzo Chidakwa ndeipi. Makanaka Nyoni ndeipi. Anyone who knows my number, please, ndokumbirao. You look good, Tete, Adzina Silojo. Thank you, Silojo. Grace Moriso, how are you? Thanks, Auntie. Ndiribo, don't worry about the name. No, I'm not worried. Mixture yacho ndiyangondi nakidza chete. Tapiwa Shema, how are you? Ellen Hassani, how are you? Masquera say ine Easter ino. Weduwe. No one is telling me the number. I guess I have to look for it in my other phone. Manje so. Oh. Rakazara pa mapepa ndoda udila now. I found the book. Ndokumbira someone andinyorere number E so that I can pin it. The number is 44 77 48330801. Handina talent dowera ndimi Sisi Melly here. Handizi Sisi Melly. Ndiri Auntie Selina, ndiri co-host wa Sisi Melly. Andizi Sisi Melly talent. Ndiri Auntie Selina. Sisi Melly munowaona mangwana. Masquera say Tete Selina, Happy Easter Sunday, Virginia. Thank you so much. Trudy, thank you so much. I'll pin the number. Nolia, thank you so much for the number. Thank you guys. Thank you. Sisi Melly munofanirwa kuwaona mangwana talent. munofanirwa kuwaona mangwana. I guess we can take off now. My son is also shown Chikomborero. Is that so? Okay, Irene. Okay. Thank you so much, guys, for the number. Ndayuana, thank you so much. I've already pinned it. I'm grateful. Thank you so much. Judith Rekare, how are you? Martha Taruinga, how are you? And Keith Kiki wants to be in your video. Yes, you can be in the video, but at a certain point, I'll call in for people either to phone the number that is pinned below, or you can come in via video. Okay, the name is Auntie Selina. I am your host, your presenter, and your facilitator tonight. And tonight, we are going to talk about a topic that has been brought to me, but I haven't been finding the right people, and up to now, I still haven't found the right person to come and enlighten us with my mental health issues. So what I thought we would do today is just have a general discussion, people phoning in and telling us their own story of my mental health illnesses avo avari kuexperienza. It's not something to chekunyara nacho. Kana uine certain illness ukaiimbresa, it makes life easy. But ukaidinaya nekuiwandisa, it makes life difficult, because you're trying to cope with the kuwandisa thing, and you're trying to cope with the illness or disease that you have as well. As I said, our topic tonight is mental health. But within mental health, there are different mental health ziripo. We want to touch static ne depression. There are types of mental health illnesses like, I didn't know anger can be classified as a mental health issue. I didn't know. There is anxiety and panic attacks. Let me say this, because we did not have someone qualified to speak to us on this. What I thought, as I said, is we would have a go and have a general talk. But we are also having Mr. Google helping us to enlighten us. Probably as we go on, we will have someone aningaskadiku atachika as a guest come in, chip in, and enlighten us, just like we did pa program yatakaita yekuita ma stillbirth nekuluzawana. We ended up ndakatsvaga futi munhu hapana akawanika, but we ended up having a lady who came in and enlightened us. Zvakawanda zvatandisingazivi. That is what I am hoping we would do today. So I said anger is classified under mental health. Anxiety and panic attacks is classified. Let me say this. I am not an expert work teachers with my mental health. As I said, we are relying on Google. And if there is someone within, amongst us, who knows or who are in the mental health field, feel free to call in. Muchitibatsira or muchitiwonesa patine zvatinenge tichiita. Bipolar is another one under mental health, bipolar disorder. And then vane inonzi body dysmorphic disorder, borderline personality disorder. But we are not going to go through all that. But in particular, we want to touch on depression. We want to touch on depression. First of all, I will explain Zandarava depression. That is what I will explain, and then we go right into our program. Okay, as depression is a mood disorder. Sorry, ndichange ndichita mostly nechirungu. Please do excuse me. Please do excuse me. And depression is a mood disorder that causes a persistent feeling of sadness and loss of interest. Also called major depressive disorder or clinical depression. Why? It affects how you feel, how you think, how you behave, and this can lead to a variety of emotional and physical problems. Emotional and physical problems. You may have trouble doing normal day-to-day activities, and sometimes you may feel as if life isn't worth living. Let me say this under Jana depression is. You know you can go through it, the mental health issues, and you really don't want to connect. Like inini ndakaita anxiety and I still have anxiety. Ndine fear yekudrive muroad. Ndo yandinayo. I've got fear of ndinopinda muroad. But once I panic ndiri paroad, ndinobreaka. But I didn't know that it's classified as a mental health issue. I didn't know until I started Googling kuti anxiety in mental health issue. Emma Mangoro, as I said, kuti rely on we don't have an expert. Google. It's not me who is saying it. Auntie, I disagree with you on saying anger is a mental health issue. Ndikuverenga zvakanyorwa ne Google, andisikuverenga zvemusoro wangu. Andikutaura zvemusoro wangu. As I said, we are relying on Google. Ndo yandikurelya nayo. So Emma is disagreeing. Probably she knows a bit about my mental health issues. Ndo zvakanakira. Emma, the number is pinned below. You can enlighten us kuti anger is the mental health, but ndo zvandapika under types of mental problems. That is what I picked. So if you are quite well versed, we are open to learning. We are open to learning. It is dear, it goes along with anxiety. It is dear. Atichazivi. Saka nhasi tichifundisane. Depression. Have you ever gone through depression? What is it that you have been feeling that led you to think, mental health symptom? I don't know anymore. What is it that led you to think kuti une depression? You know, in our society, tichikura isusu, depression was never a word that was used. Tichikura isusu use the word rekuti I'm feeling low. I'm feeling low. And as I was ndichitsvagurudzo dzangu, hanzi depression inogona kuita week, inogona kuita months, and inogona kuita for years. We're never told kuti I am a board certified mental toko mavave. Ndokumbira umuti mundifonere even via video. Request toko mavave. Ndokumbira kuti imi request so that you can ndo zvakanakira kutaura. Kunouya vanhu vanenge vaine ruzivo vachiti vanarwo. Antitoko ndokumbira mundifonere kana kuti ndikuisei pa video, please, so that you can enlighten us. Since muri mbodi mental health, please, Antitoko ndokumbirawo. Whilst we wait for Antitoko, if she's willing to assist to connect with us, I was saying, mu society medu isusu, mental health, depression chinhu chaisataurika. Uye at the moment chisati chakunyatsotaurika. Ed, have you requested Veronica Mtuli? Have you requested? Oh, Kune vanhu requested. Let me look for let me look for vati vari paboard kuti varipo here, and then I can add. Wow, there's a whole lot of people that have requested. Okay, it looks like she's not there. I can't see Auntie Toko, but let me just add. Adding you. How do I add Auntie Toko? What you can just do is request to be added on video. Request to be added on video. And then ndinokuona per list. I can't see you, Auntie Toko, at the moment per list. Let me see if I can do this. No, I can't add you like that. No. I can't add. Mukangoti add chete. How do I do it? I can't add you. I can't add you. Let me see. Auntie Toko vapinda here. Handisi kuvaona still Auntie Toko. Vari kubvunza kuti ndo add sei. I'm just going to randomly again add some people. I'm adding someone at the moment. If your phone is showing you I've sent a request, please accept it, please. Please accept. It keeps on. I was about to cut you off. Ndinokuchingamidzai pachirongwa SIS MELLY's diaries, mental health issues, depression in particular. Makadini. Hello? Auntie? Hello? Auntie Lechkwe varipo, but it looks like stop going to live with, yeah, I'll stop because she's not responding. I'll add someone else. Bear with us as we try to add people, please. Auntie Veronica, I'm adding you. Auntie Veronica, I'm adding you. Auntie Veronica, Makadi, welcome to the program. Tiripo zvedu.
Tese mufunge maita basa. And thank you so much in the program yenyu. And this is a disclaimer. And this is mazvikokota we mental health.
Okay.
And senza nana chiremba vanoita mental health.
All right.
Ndandida kupindura pakuti
Auntie, muri loud here?
I think so.
Inenge iri kuzhadhira kuseri kana muri loud ameno mukandibvisira zvinoshanda.
Ndobvisa sei manje?
Or maybe network.
Maybe after I do it. Do you shut some my earphones?
Okay, ndibvisirei.
That better.
Much better.
Okay, but ndichakunzwa izvangu, but it's okay, ndichangotaura.
All right, ingotaura idzo.
Ndanga ndichida kutaura kuti pane mutauri ataura kuti
Auntie?
Makundinzwa?
Good.
Okay, ndida kutanga kutaura kuti munhu wese anosanganisira neni mental health. Munhu wese ane mental health, but malevel anosiyana. Because unoteswa kuti level rako rakamira sei. Saka point number 1, munhu wese ane mental health kusanganisira kuti level rekupenga nemental health ndonoita sei ndorosiyana. Point number 2, anger zvinobvira mental health issue because pane chatrigger mood yako. Saka my psychologist kana vachikubvunza vachitaura newe.
It looks like vanhu havasi kukunzwai. Munokwanisa kundifonera paWhatsApp.
Alright, because this one I need for WhatsApp.
Ndine namba yenyu.
I think so. Ndikandifone panhamba.
Because mukandifonera panhamba yangu inokata kuti.
Alright.
Mukandifonera panhamba.
Alright.
Thank you. Okay, she's going to call on WhatsApp so that she can enlighten you. Okay. I'll try another person via video, and if it proves to be very difficult, then we can resort to calling in. Auntie Francisca, I'm adding you. Auntie Francisca, I'm adding you. Ndokumbira kuti muite pika. Yeah, Auntie G, there is a lot of stigma in our community regarding mental health. Ndinokuchingamidza ipachirongo makadiyaska.
Hi, Auntie.
Mama topinda magumbeze.
Makadi.
Tiripo makadi yenyaska.
Tiripo muri kundinzwa?
Ndiri kukunzwai zvakanaka. I'm hoping other viewers can hear you. We are talking about mental health issues. In particular, we are discussing about depression.
Yeah, inini depression do I understand.
Okay.
Let me share my experience in depression.
All right.
Depression paino ataka iwe pachako, you will not even be aware kuti whatever depressed.
Okay.
Ati ma symptoms depression inini zvayaindita depression. I lost the father of my kids in 2020.
Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that.
So ndakatanga kudevelopa kahabit kaya kekuti ndaiona soti ndikabudikira panze chero vanhu vakataura neni chero vamwe vanenge vaita kunga kunzwira tsitsi ndoona sokuti amene zvazvinongoita depression inongopushira kuti uve wega.
Okay.
Sometimes munhu ari kutotaura newe zvakanaka zviya kahabit kekubatana maoko. Sometimes munhu akamuguma kudhara munhu akashaya muna January ozokubata maoko muna December zvobva zvakutriga. Unopindwa nekaspiriti kekupira ungati ungatsvaga wako mwena wega kwausingaoneki.
Okay.
Ukaona vanhu vachifara unongofila ngati wewe you are not supposed or you are not allowed to express or to enjoy life.
Okay.
Munhu akataura newe sometimes ari kukuita counseling or ari kuda kuonesa kana kuadvisa, unofila ngati they are not understanding you. Unenge une nzira yaunoshuvira kuti vangakunzwa nayo, but ungati zvoita sekuti it's opposite and zvinenge zvichikushungurudza.
Okay.
I even developed a frustration towards vana chaivo. Ndaivanzwira kamwe hasha ameno kunge ndine kwaninga vatora ndikavaisa. At the same time I cannot stay away from them.
Okay.
Ndikotanga kuenjoya kurara. I didn't mind kurara kuda nezuro. I'm still on my bed andiri mangwana yacho kuti kana 4 o'clock ugotanga kuluza habit kutanga kutonzwa usimbe chero kuzvichengeta kana munoziva kuzviya kuti kunogona kuidza ukasazvinetsa nekuti mazino chahana kwesha.
Okay.
Zvakare ugotanga kuona kutadzirwa. Unenge uchingotadzirwa zvo mukati memhuri chaimo, vamwe vanenge vaine dzimba dzavo unotanga kufila ngati vane kukwereta zvekuti for example vanhu vanogona kuita mapati kumba kwavo and move on nekuda kuti wakawirwa nedambudziko. Instead yokuti ufarewo navo kuti upenyu huri kuenderera mberi, unofila ngati somehow they are doing it kukurwadzisa here.
Okay. Maka, when you say you were depressed, are you over it, number one? And number two, were you clinically diagnosed or because of the symptoms zamuri kutaura ndopa makaziva kuti mune depression?
First thing, those symptoms, because ndakaread this Vita chapter and myself ndikaziva ndiri munhu akaita sei, ndikatanga kuona kuti this is not me.
Okay.
Then ndikatanga kuverenga, there are books, there are stories and some zvakawanda zvinotaura depression, and ndikaona kuti 97% of the things zvandakurarama zvandiri kuita ndinoitwa nemunhu ari depressed. In the process ndaka accepta ndega without being diagnosed kuti I'm depressed. So what must I do? I must start interacting nevanhu.
Okay.
Kahabiti kekuona kunge vanhu vakango every conversation is all about me. Kanofanira kupera nekuti people they are allowed to live their own life regardless of the situation.
Okay. Okay.
And started to control my anger towards vana. Sometimes ndaingoti zvikandibhowa so ngati ndingadhuma mheno ngati ngaita sei ndikatanga kunzwisisa kuti no, I must not do like this.
Okay.
Then ndikato initiate ndine tumwe tumagroup twandina ndika-initiate tumaprogram. Let's share, let's pray for each other, teacher counseling for free. Ndaizviitire handasikaitiri kubatsira vamwe, but ndaiziva kuti I think I need help. Paunowacha maovhoro maoko anochena. Saka pandakatanga kuita izvozvo, ndakatanga kunzwa maproblems evamwe akatokura angu, zvika-uplifta spirit yangu.
All right.
In the process, pagroup ipapo patorine 3 ladies vakanoadmitwa chaiko kupsychiatrist mentally varasikirwa nenjere nekuda kwedepression. So I think I'm lucky enough handinazosvika ikoko, but handingati ndapora and I'm still going through the healing process. Depression is real.
It is real. Saka imi makazvi self-diagnose depression because of what you were reading. Uye muchiona maitiro amakaita amaita. Jemina, hi. I know you don't understand Shona, all the way from Kenya. Hello. Muchiona maitiro amaita nemaverengero emabhuku amaita ndokubva mazvisita self-diagnose. Saka hamunombobvira maenda kwachiremba.
Handina kuenda kwachiremba, but ndaka-interacta nema-friends angu. I have a best friend of mine, she's a social worker.
Okay.
Yes. Saka on my free times ake, I could visit her. She was the person akandibatsira, achiri kungondibatsira nanhasi. The road is still long.
Okay.
Dambudziko redu maAfrican ndeyekuti ukawirwa nedambudziko tinongonzi you shall overcome. Manzo zviya zvokuti aiwa zvichanaka, but pasina chinonaka.
Okay. And
so the thing yakawedzera
your depression imwe yatinonzwa pa community yedu yekuAfrica is endai pamabvi.
Yes, endai pamabvi. Endai pamabvi. Iyoyo ndo exactly that's the road. And any problem yandakaita, I think nandiri munhu ndaifarira kunamata, kusheya, kuparidza, kuita sei. Saka time yandakawirwa nedambudziko, even people vanga vari close to me, they were ran out of words, including my mother. I remember mai angu vakauya tikagara tikaviga murume tikapedza, but she never said a word kwandiri. Zviya zvokuti vanozviudza kuti she is strong enough. I was not strong enough. I'm still not strong enough. It's never okay to lose munhu wanga wachirarama naye. It's never okay to raise kids wega. Work pakaita impact yeCovid-19. Desperation. Unenge usikazive pokubata kana pokuita sei kugumirwa. It's never okay. I can go down on my knees. At the end of the day, situation iri kuramba yakadaro. Hatirambe kunamata. But we need help. We need people to talk to us. We need people to support us.
Okay, saka yenyu depression munonyatsoziva chakatrigger because muri kutaura kurasikirwa nemumwe wenyu wamaida. Saka depression yenyu yakatriggerwa nekuluza murume wenyu. Ndizvo ndiri correct?
Yes.
Okay. I get you. Maita basa antine kushare. It's good kana munhu aine arikurarama mune chinhu chatinenge tichitaura akauya achishare. Some other people vanenge vasingafuni kubudikira vakazviona, they'll see kuti it's real and zviri kuitika. Whereas if people shy away from sharing my experiences avo, especially vachinyatsoziva chakavatrigger kudai, hazvitibatsire, but kushare kwevanhu vakawanda kuno open up vamwe vanhu kuti vashare. As you are saying kuti makatopinda mumagroups akakubatsirai.
Yes, no problem. You actor tough. Don't play a hero. Sometimes it is chema. It's okay to cry.
All right.
Yeah, kuacta ngati zvakafanana nenyaya yandataura yevana. I have 4 kids. Whereby mwe nomwe anenge chaanoda ugomuka every day you want to make sure you provide. It's okay even kutomboshaya rimwe zuva.
All right. All right.
It doesn't make you weak kuti handina mwanangu handikwanise izvi ndokwanisa izvi.
All right. Asi ngobuda pachena sezvazviri.
Yes, nokuadjusta life. Baba varipo tairarama so iko zvino tinoafforda izvi. Zvinokubatsira futi izvo. To go with the flow.
Going with the flow.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Wow. Maita basa antine ku share your own experience, and it's your own experience as well. And chandifadza ndechekuti pamakapinda mudepression makazvidiagnose mega because of zvamaiona zvamaiverenga mukatsvaga rubatsiro mega mati zvichiripo. It's a long road but zvinenge zvanani. Thank you so much for sharing your story.
Thank you, Andy. Thank you so much.
Ndatenda zvangu.
Thank you.
Wow, ndi anti vanga vachisharewo experience yava. I'm hoping kuti anti vaya vati vanofona vari mental health section vati havazi guru wemental health, havazi chiremba asi vanoshanda nana chiremba vachibatsira zvemental health issues. Kune vanonoka, we are talking about mental health issues, and in particular we are talking about depression. Rega ichitore koli ndinokuchingamidzai pachirongwa depression makadini.
Yes.
Hello, welcome to the program.
Thank you. Yes, topic no yamataura iri very, very important. Nekuti topic inonetsa, haina formula, haina right, haina wrong, haina kuti this is it and this isn't it. That's why it's so difficult.
True.
For a lot of people. And kune kolabva, very, very sorry. It's something that is very, very traumatic. And also, only Muna Kaenda through it is the only one that can understand what you go through. So, Pakuveringo, I'm not in medical field, but just kungoverenga nekuda kungonzwisiso my conditions as mazvano yango word inotaurwa mental health. So just like physical health, it doesn't mean kuti a problem. It just means overall health. But mental health goes pfungwa, psychological as well as emotion, which is a feeling.
Yes.
So feeling yemunhu haikwanisike kuti munhu abise feeling yemunhu oti no iwe hausi kufila zvakati.
You can't.
Ndosaka ichinetsa. Kuti kana munhu achifila sad, munhu haukwanisi kuudza munhu kuti rega kufila sad because it's a feeling.
True.
So one of the things here, depression is, it's a wide range. But pane anything is mental health, pane cause and effect. Pane something chatokoza and my effects ndo anozoonekera ama symptoms. So my causes akasiyana, vamwe vakatozvarwa vanotori ne something chinenge chirimo mupfungwa chekuti that hormonal or whatever chemical imbalance.
And someone is trying to phone with an international number. Ndokumbira mukandifonera pasiri pa WhatsApp, it cuts off the person that is talking. Auntie taura henyu.
Okay, thank you. Saka kana iri iyoyo yekuti there is something yekuti munhu akatozvarwa nayo. A lot of it can be treated ne medication because panenge patori ne a chemical imbalance. And then vamwewo, it's something where it's a social path. Panotone something chitori missing in chekuti sometimes
anti mati kuzvarwa nayo.
munhu unokwanisa kunge wakatozvarwa ne-mental condition inozokoza ma-effects e-depression vanhu vanenge vakuzoona now the symptoms.
Okay.
So because it's psychological as well as emotional, saka zviri both yekuti psychological mupfungwa zvawakatozvarwa something in the brain as well as what you're feeling, an emotion that you're feeling. Saka ma results, sometimes you feel sad, just a feeling of sadness. Hapana reason, but hausi kungofara, nyangori kana papachi kana chinyi, you're just feeling sad. And then loss of interest in ordinary things. Not kuti zvimwe, but zvinofana kunge zviri ordinary, hauna interest nazvo. And sometimes it affects how you think, how you feel, and also how you're going to behave. So you can have anger, you can have sleep problems. Yekuti one anokwanisa kutadza kurara, mumwe anokwanisa kunge achirara all day. And then appetite, unokwanisa kunge uchidya zviri over, uchingodya to numb something that you're going through a feeling, or kana kutoshaya appetite at all.
That one iyo yamataura yekuti unokwanisa ngodya just to numb your feelings, that I can relate to myself. That is how I cope with something that is going on in my life. I eat and I find comfort in eating.
Yes, especially sugary stuff or fatty stuff. They are called comfort foods because they're going to give you that chemical reaction. You know, it will bring kind of like a temporary joy.
Yeah.
And then kozoti vamwe unozoita anxiety, yekuti you are anxious, yekuti you can have panic attacks, or sometimes you can be so tired, yekuti unongochishaya kana simba rekunogeza chairo kana zvisenzitaurwa na previous caller kana kubrasha mazino chaiko. And then the other extreme, yekuti you can have thoughts of self-harm, kana kufila kuti inini rega ndingozvipedza.
Yeah.
And then one of the other things is you become oversensitive. Yekuti munhu akangotaura kana kungomenshina something unozviteka personally, wototsamwa, wotopopota, wotove angry, whereas most people would just take it for what it is. Okay. So that's why vanhu vachigara vachitaura kuti pama-social media people are depressed, but people take it the wrong way. Because munhu unenge wa-oversensitive, munhu akangotaura chakati, wakutomataka, kutopopota, kutotuka. Iwayo, it's a form of depression, not necessarily all of it, but it's because it's an emotion. So ndopa inonetsa ipapo. So then my treatments, it's a whole array. So for anyone anenge achifila that yekuti maybe I fall into one category, maybe it's just a little bit or maybe it's more. One, it starts off by trying to identify. But sometimes you're not even aware that you are depressed.
Yeah.
But let's listen when people, those that are close to us, are noticing something or telling us, let's not be offended. Gati save sensitive, but try kufunga kuti asi something is wrong. And then panema different methods. Mamwe kutaura ne someone, just airing it out. Because a lot of it can get into depression, but it's maybe an effect yekuti munhu kana ongo waka rape, let's say uri mwana mudiki wakazvisuppressa. The fact yekuti getting it out and talking about it and having that voice and having someone to help you or just a listening ear would be a start. And then for some, it's actually food related. But you've got to now detox your body. Maybe mainly my fruits, my vegetables, to cut out dairy and sugar and all that, to balance my hormones to help with mood, taking enough vitamin D, enough flaxseed, enough chia seed, and natural oils. And then Auntie Selina, believe you me, isusu kune vanhu veku Africa, there is a form ye help yatisiri aware of. One of it is Chinese medicine. You know, it's an acupuncture, nanachi, that has helped a lot of people, as well as yavanoti holistic medicine. Yekuti iwayo unongo chipiwa ma herbs, machi uchinwa, uchijika. All those things really help. And then kuneo vamwe, they need medication, ma antidepressants, nechisaka unongo kwenda through my doctors.
Okay.
So it's not a one shoe fits all. So as long as uchinasa kufila kuti inini mumba munomu, ndikatarisa maplate mukitchen, ndobva ndatopereroka. Ndikatarisa kuti maiwe imba ida kutsvairwa indabva kubasa ndaneta, ndobva ndatongopinda kumagumbezi ndorara. It's overwhelming. Your mind is overwhelmed. and that can be a form of depression, even though tinongoti munhu wese is going through it. But the fact yekuti watozosvika kupinda magumbezi nekuzarirwa and yet umwe munhu anongoona maplate ungoti okay oenda unoasuka. But for some it's like a dark cloud yekuti imba nevana vachiita noise vachiita sei zvinobva zvatove too overwhelming for a person. So ndozvanga chinongocontributewo kuti hapana for this topic hapana ari right hapana ari wrong, and for someone anenge ati anger is something you can control. Sometimes people are not even aware that they are angry.
Yeah.
Because just lash out. Nanongo munhu nyangu akangotaura something. Munhu anokurumidza kuda kupopota, kuda kurumidza kudefend, kuda kurumidza kurwa. It's already a form of anger, but chinenge chida kuzoziva ndechekuti what is causing it. Chiri kuitisa kuti munhu ungodaro kana even vana chaivo. Vazhinji vedu hatikwanise kana kutaura nemwana kuti nhai nhonga plate iyo. Tinotoita kupopota. Hey, simudza plate iyo. Madi kudai. So uri munhu anenge achingopopota. Panotoone something chiri kudriver to that, but you might not be even aware of it. Pamwe kubasa, pamwe uri kushanda too long, or there has to be something, but sometimes it's hard to identify what. So ndozvanga chida kungotaurawo kuti it's a topic inonetsa, but it's a very, very big topic because a lot don't understand. And then the last one is, especially the ladies vakuenda up in age, in menopause and all, you are going to find my symptoms iwayo, anana depression, anana mood swings, anana chi. It's because your hormones estrogen here
mood swings for some of us it's kicking in.
Yes. But vana havanzwisise, so because vana vanenge vasisanzwisise, murume anenge asisanzwisise kuti ndo zviri kuitika, iwewe munhu you're not even aware kuti ndo zviri kuitika. So it's a lot yekuti it's an unknown phase vanhu yatinenge tichienda, and then you won't even know how to deal with it. Inini personally, I'm going through menopause, and ndaita mama symptoms yekuti kufuta, kudi. Mwana wangu who is in puberty, anga ari kuendawo through that, but a naturalist akatibatsira gave us the same regimen. Akapa for mwana wangu, but ndakatarisa ndichiona, ma vitamin D, ma chia seed, ma flax seed, ma sesame seed, aimuti idya uchigrinda uchidya. Ndakatanga kuzvitora, and it actually eased most of my symptoms, my hot flash, my chi. So there's a lot yatisina anyone to help us.
Yeah.
Nekuziva, but kutaura uku zvinoisa kuti tidzidzewo from each other.
Zvokwadi. Thank you so much, Auntie. Ndaona as you were talking, some people like Laxme, Nana Francesca were actually saying what the caller is talking about is, especially when you were talking about my symptoms, is what they are going through. Thank you so much, Auntie, for your contribution. I highly appreciate that.
No problem. And kune vanenge vachida kuwana someone wekutaura naye kana chi, I'm sure kuti SIS MELLY and Aunt Selina are there kana vachizoda maybe perform something where people can get help or talk about stuff, but ladies, we are there for each other. And we thank you, Auntie Selina, for platform yekuti people can just come kuburiso something where maybe you have no one wekuti ungataure munhu akanzwisisa, because unosvika kulabel wakunzi uyu anopenga kana kuti chi. And then another thing yeiwayo my mental issue yandandakanganwa, so kunewo uchibhoyi mamhepo nezvimwe. So prayer is also needed, the fasting is also needed, because sometimes it might be that's causing it. So
it might be chiboy.
It might be chiboy as well. Yes, it's a part of it that can be there too.
Okay. All right.
So just depending on the situation, those can that hapana situation yakafanana neimwe. But it's just trying everything and trying to zero out and not. So even if you put prayer as the first thing, then God will direct as well which area to go as well, not to negate it. But sometimes God unonamata ukugaida kuti enda kwa doctor, ukugaida kuti enda kwa therapist, ukugaida kuti taura na Auntie Selina, ukugaida. So that can also help.
Yeah, true. Thank you so much, Auntie. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Okay, for those that are just joining us, nasi tiri kutaura nenyaya mental health issues, in particular tiri kutaura depression. Kustart kweprogram tadescribe kuti chinonzi depression chi, and we walked through my symptoms of depression, like my mood, loss of interest in things you enjoyed doing, my feelings, a worthlessness, poor concentration. It's amongst my signs of depression. Ndinokuchingamidzai pachirongwa. Makadini? Let's say askan.
Makadizve.
Tirinani makadiyo. Happy Easter to you.
Thank you to you and your family too.
Hold on. If you try and call me pana someone arikutaura, yes, Auntie Veronica, the line will indicate busy. Kana paina someone, it will definitely indicate busy. Sorry about that. You can go on.
Thank you so much for creating this platform kutaura mental health. I love talking about mental health.
Okay.
And so I couldn't help myself to come in and just give my 2 cents.
Thank you for calling.
I'm a board certified clinical therapist.
Okay.
And I love mental health. I do it on a daily basis. So I'm just going to talk about purely depression and quickly just touch on 1 or 2 other things.
Okay.
The first thing that I want to talk about is depression. Depression yakasiyana.
Okay.
So overall, with depression, there are about 4 or 5 types of depression.
Okay.
So the most basic one is depression, situational depression, whereby just what happens, and so that we normalize depression, so that
Auntie, just hold on. Before Auntie continues, let's listen attentively. Auntie is the one who is on the board mental. Saka, she's now trying to give us different depressions and more information about the depressions. Saka, if we could kindly listen, Zakati Tinobatirikana. The floor is all yours, Auntie. I won't interrupt you anymore.
No, it's all right. So depression, what we call major life events, and this white old man, my psychologist, psychiatrist, who sat down together. Depression, and so can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Okay,
go on. All right. So they sat down hospital. So those are called major life events. So I'm going to name about 5, 6 of them.
Okay.
Death in the family. So death of a loved one, amai, baba, murume, bana, and so forth and so on. Loss of a job, divorce, loss of maybe homelessness, loss of musha, and a few other things. Could be significant, somebody having cancer in the family, right? So all it needs, one of those things to happen, can land you on a mental health ward. Just one. So of late, let's take for example, tine COVID, so that's number 1. Number 2, when a family member, COVID. Number 3, over homelessness. You got 3 things, significant events. Remember, that 1, you only need 1.
1, yes.
After 1, 3 significant events. Automatically, whenever kind of clinician work not I shall the following. There's what we call a cluster of symptoms of depression. When you are being diagnosed, those are the clusters that we look at. The clusters go something like this. How many hours per night? Most times
you find vamwe vanongorara 3 hours, sometimes vamwe vanorara 5 hours, but anenge achiti akarara umuka, what we call broken sleep. Because earlier on, as other speakers were saying, unenge uchiita unodya the extremes, unodya too much, kana kuti haudyi zvachose. So that's where you see somebody losing weight or somebody just ballooning. And then one of the symptoms too is poor concentration. But you can tell they checked out. Ask concentrate, they're not there. And then you have got also anger, what we term anger. So we call that either agitation or low tolerance. And it mwana akupanya cup wotoroerwa izvo zvokutonzinda kutokuuraya. And it is so you've got low tolerance, any form of very minor, mundane things, but the threshold, lower, your tolerance.
Okay.
And then we are looking at also on things like socialization. But no one who just don't want to talk. Don't even have a conversation. It's like, come on, don't buy a day, keep up and they just shut down, go into the room, lock the door, or just make a sandwich and one-way answers.
Okay.
So, and this put in dochit is not a response, but to endorse depression, we need at least 5 to 6 of those clusters.
Okay.
Then the other type, and Ruda could mention, because we're seeing quite a lot of that because of COVID. Saka kuna depression inomira yega, because we have depression inomira in extra zita. So tukune in a psychosis, because we are in a kind of mania or whatever. So what am I talking about psychosis? Oh, hang on. I swear and my voices cannot but she's not there. Ndaona vanhu but hapana vanhu kana munhu anotokwanisa kuti muri kuona vanhu vakagara po vanhu vapiwa hapana vanhu varipo. And so they are hallucinating, depending again the type of pressure or stresses zvaita kuti munhu asvike ipapo. And then you have got also, so we have got that psychosis. What was the other one? I've forgotten what the other one was that I mentioned. But bottom line, depression, depending on my questions, the intensity of the symptoms. Intensity whereby auchakwanisa kana kubika, auchakwanisa kana kugeza mazino. Baba ndo paunonzwa vakucomplaina kuti nai mitinorara sei musina kana kumbogeza makutonhuwa mai hygiene yatora zero zilch, gone with the wind. And then you hear manje vanhu vakuti mai chapa. You know what I mean? Right. So now we are saying, go on. So we are seeing the behaviors. Usually, somebody mentioned earlier on, popota pa my Facebook and so forth and so on. Those are the behaviors that are on. So I'm going to quickly take you to another angle.
Okay.
So the people in any, I specialize in CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy. So cognitively, how you think, how you feel physically, and then how you behave. So usually, kana ndichitaura newe ndikutarisa kuti chii chiri kunyatsoitika mupfungwa dzako zvauri kufunga chii, then behavior physically unonzwa sei. Pane vanhu kuti uchitaura naye when they are really unwell, unoona either anosheka or anosweta, anodedera, and then wozongoverekana ndo vanhu vaya vanongokupanja either kumeso kana kuti anokupusha kana kuti that's behavior. Or izvozvo kuenda unovhara door, or you see somebody chain smoking, or munhu utora mbanje otanga kupota. Those behaviors, itori coping skill, but that's not, remember vanhu makungoona the behavior chet, but zvaitika uko kumberi uko was the trigger.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So they were triggered either social issues, loss of a relative, loss of a job. Then physically, Baba compromised what we call fight or flight. You were talking earlier on about anxiety, and
yes,
that is fight or flight. Something triggered you to an extent mukanyatsoda kuzvironda, there's a situation yekuti umunhu chaiye anokutrigger to the point yekuti akakutrigger you behave in a certain way, and that behavior usually is negative.
Okay.
So something negative happens, you respond negatively, and then you behave negatively.
I personally know what triggered my anxiety.
There you go. Go on.
What happened is ndakaita accident whereby I was trying to give way to an ambulance. Ndini ndandine right of way, but ndakanzwa siren ichirira ichienda the other way. Saka ndanda sort of halfway kunotena kuenda kwandaida kutena. Saka munhu anga ari kumashure kwangu akauya aine speed nekuti ini ndanda already in the motion of turning. Akasondirova kumashure zvakakonzera kuti ndiite kunge ndakunorova ambulance yanga ikuenda ku the other side ikanosweva ikatarisa kwandandiri kubva inini ambulance. And from that time I started hearing mabhero emotikari pese pese.
Right. So if you notice from now onwards, I want you to pay attention to something. Either it's the situation each time at that intersection, you find you start hyperventilating, or you couldn't watch your ambulance. That same siren can trigger you. Or basically, the color, that type of car. So just pay close attention on that. You see, somehow you will be triggered, and then the question is to intensity. And then what do? You usually just take deep breaths, reassure yourself, you're okay, you're fine. It did happen, right?
Yeah.
So that we could spend the whole day going into that. What I really wanted to go back to, in I normalize mental health. Earlier on, we were talking about anxiety. Oh my God, it's mental health. Listen, it's all of us in what we call stress vulnerability model, right? The stress vulnerability model is like SISO. I'm a visual person, so I'm funge and rationalize it. That's how I think about it. You remember, SISO was static. You get flipped kuti enjoy it has to be a fine balance. Kanari masaga umunari same weight newe anfogara kuside next side. We are never actually made to tolerate stress yakawandisa.
Okay.
The moment stress ikawandisa, it doesn't matter who you are. I loved her. She said, no penga, but it's the level of penga. Well, I'm not going to put it that way.
Yeah.
So, we are vulnerable to stress. But then we are not made in the image you could see overwhelmed. The moment we are overwhelmed, we are going to respond in some way.
All right.
It doesn't matter who you are. However, the difference no pamunozonzwa pachitaurwa word rekunzi pane vamwe vane tolerance yestress. There's a word randuku kanganwa. Pane vanhu vave vari resilient. They actually thrive. Chaos. You're in chaotic situations. That's what I bring it on. Then when just something minor,
Okay.
So again, those are people who are on both extremes.
Okay.
Low threshold, then loss of threshold. And it isusu vanhu baseline yedu ndiye kuti one stressor. Then, as long as we feel that tine family, tine resources to problem solve, we feel that definitely I can overcome this. There's hope at the end of the tunnel. It's okay. No paper goes through a difficult situation. Also, no, now I'm okay because stress tolerance. It's kind of normal plus my resources right that cushioned that situation for them. Okay, let me backtrack. Let's learn to be compassionate. There are lots of interventions for depression. For medication, we call it pharmacologically medications like Prozac, lorazepams, the diazepams, and so forth and so on, right? Then on the other end, tine CBT therapy, what we call talk therapy, kune ACT, kune DBT, you name it. So many skills to someone good how to mitigate my symptoms. Why? But it starts with one thing that is lacking of late as a people. Goes a long way. You know, we used to see our mothers used to say, you know what I mean? You know, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
It was because we are people because of the people that are around us. You know, we thrive when people genuinely care. Selena, how are you doing these days? You know, and without being too intrusive in people's business. If you want to tell me your personal issues, you are going to. But just that caring spirit of how are you doing? And by the way, I'm thy sister's keeper. You need me to talk to me about anything. I'm not going to go on Facebook and then have a live about it. You know, I see people normalizing humiliating each other on Facebook. I have to caution about this. You know, people like me, we've been really monitoring because of Facebook. Going back, and because we are guided by that stress vulnerability model. Pane munhu iwewe, you're going to be just that catalyst trigger, yet if anything goes wrong, I'm going to complete it. Let's be very, very mindful of how we treat other people, because depression wonder, but famba tese takadai tiene mtoro yakawandisa, and all we need is that light. That's all. Out of unyadzi vazotaura kuti you know handisikudya, handisikutaura, handisikuita zvakati, but they'll be going through quite a lot, and people will tend to naturally heal from that ubuntu-ness, that I'm thy sister's keeper, based on just one major event, and with the knowledge yekuti and anditese tiri zvikarara.
No, anditese sure.
Yeah. So that's, in a nutshell, that's major depression. What I would say about that, and you know, you've got your bipolar, and then you've got your schizoaffective. So schizoaffective, where somebody comes up with a mixture of schizophrenia, symptoms of schizophrenia, and depression, bipolar. Listen. I often say kuvanhu vese ndiri a mixture of Ndebele and Shona. Ukaona munhu akaita sena kuti take your medication. No, kuti 20-something years in mental health, I've seen quite a lot. Medication works. Wongoti ngade kunonatira, ndiri mupostori as well for 20 years in Shinamata Postori. But when it comes to mental health, the advice I will give any person, including my own children, is always work with your doctors. I appreciate if somebody will say to you, you know, I self-diagnosed and I did this. Ukachikoka ruoko kana ukachikoka gumbo, auzvitrete kumba. Autore machira and then ungosungirira and then hope to God that, you know, gumbo iroro is going to heal, and then, you know, one day you'll be running. Unotoenda kwa doctor, uno it was X-ray, from X-ray, then also it was whatever, and orthopedic doctors do what they do best, right? Mental health is exactly the same. The same way uka diagnose wakunzi une cancer, you know what, I don't know about what type of cancer, maybe I don't know. You'll be like breast cancer. Okay, medication yacho ndiye, and saka prognosis yakamera sei, saka tooperate here to bise here zamu toita sei. Mental health should be the same. We should destigmatize mental health. The same way we talk about our periods is the same way we should be talking about mental health, because one way mental health is concerned. And I really hope Wakadzi, especially Vechidi, can listen to what I'm about to say. Depression, one of the things that I forgot to say, depression lowers your level of functioning. That's why people like me, psychiatrists and everybody, don't particularly concerned people. In America, we call it medical necessity. Because one medication, one care, you have to meet that threshold. Your level of functioning is impaired. Ukaenda kubasa, ucha concentrate wakutofaiwa. Kuchengeta vana vakudzidzira kubika vega because you kutadza kana kusumuka kuti ubike. That's your level of functioning. So I'm going to stick ne kubasa. So you go kubasa, aucha perform asterika because concentration is bad. You've got low energy. You just don't feel like talking, and then you're kind of brittle. So when we say you're brittle, rafu pepe paunungu pindura vanhu vese rafu, because you are annoyed by everybody when you're depressed. And then people are like, askushandika naye. Mental health affects your pocket. Mental health creates a low threshold you function. You could have my degrees 500. If you can't utilize those degrees, I'm going to repeat that. I saw your face, Auntie Selena. Let me repeat that.
Your pocket. Mental health, you say it affects your pocket.
Yes, it affects your pocket because your level of function can be low. Then you are going to stay in a job underpaying. There is no way you're going to be given. My duties are demanding when your concentration is low, when your motivation, even to socialize, let's say with a project management, you need this back and forth and team. And if you are getting irritated, and so that is. People have to understand that mental health affects your ability to show up in the world the best way that you want to. And lastly, years ago, I used to work in Australia, and then one client used to hate this nurse. You know, when I had an episode, that nurse wasn't nice to me at all. I can't sikirira when they were taking me to hospital and buy this injection and so forth and so on. Long story short, in talking to them, to that person, she said to me something that was interesting. Mental health, if it is not taken care of, you run the risk of other people making the decisions for you because you are incapable of making your own decisions.
Okay.
There's nothing that is so disempowering as having other people making decisions for you.
True.
Because mentally she's not capable of, decision making. Is so skewed, compromised. Or worst case scenario, overseas, where people are like, she's so psychotic as a bat. We will need a family member the power of attorney. Who wants to do that? I'll give you a quick example. Could you understand the mess of what I'm talking about? I don't know how many people were following the singer, Britney Spears.
Yes.
For years, Britney Spears. Remember, for years the father had power of attorney.
Yes.
That's what I'm talking about. Where people actually have power of attorney to use your money, make decisions about your children, make decisions about Paunogar. When you do not take care of your mental health, there is no shame. You could be African American, you could be Jamaican, for all we get. We are all the same where mental health is concerned.
Very true.
taurira murungu kuti you are depressed, unonzwa chitisaka, which is the best medication at the moment on the market.
True. That is
When we started nursing years ago, definitely mishonga kudhara yave ine side effects.
Yeah.
Iye zvino do you know kune medication no side effect, they are non-addictive. And by the way, tese panapa tinotora mishonga yawo mapiritsi chii ekuti tisaite nhumbu. We don't go around telling people kuti oh yeah, ndakarara nababa nezuro but takashandisa makondo. It's exactly the same thing. You don't have to tell people that you're on antidepressants. As long as it's working, it's doing their job. Who needs to know? And who cares at the end of the day? You are safe, period. At the end of you're able to be present for your children. You're able to take your children bike riding or whatever. You're able to help them with homework. You're able to make sure that end up university. You know, you achieve all the goals that you want. Ultimately, that's what we want as clinicians.
Wow. Wow. Auntie, thank you so much for calling and telling us all that. The lady, I'm going to talk about the lady we have a share live vachiti vakazvidiagnose depression, and she managed to work here depression vari mumagroup avave. And she said, I can't say that depression is over, but she thinks it's now controlled.
Yes.
She even knows what triggered her depression.
Yes.
Ivo pavari, would you suggest vanoonekwa nachiremba kana kuti she continues to do what she's doing, which seems to be working for her?
It is. Remember, earlier on I mentioned what you call it, resilience, and you know, not only that, some people kind of tend to bounce back, but it never totally goes away. That's a part yandoda mention. Mental health is one of the one of the diagnoses or diseases in one way. So the mind is like an elastic. Each time you stretch it, it never really kind of snaps back to where it started. It kind of, see a gap somehow. That's where the medication needs to go in, because remember, is another somebody I could tell she was a clinician, chemical imbalance. Medication is a chemical that goes in and balances out the chemical imbalance of mental health. I'll repeat that. Saka iwewe warwara depression and it's okay back so that we increase that level of functioning again.
Okay.
No matter which therapist, how trained they are, rarely do we see, and I use the word rarely because it's rare, to see that elastic bounce back, snap back into place. It always needs something to just what we call a load maintenance dose medication. Okay. Personally, usually that's what I recommend. Could you go talk to your prescriber, see if we can get on board just a low dose, what we call a maintenance. And could diagnose on a platform like this, but basically, in my humble opinion, earlier on, mangwana chaye if she could, doctor you know what, I want to discuss a low dose antidepressant, and this is just to kind of remove the rough edges and smooth things back into place. Okay. I hope without a doubt, that I would highly recommend, without even thinking twice.
I sincerely hope that she is listening to what you are saying. Wow. Matidzidzisa wedu ende uye mationesa zvakawanda about depression.
You're most welcome. And yes, anxiety, certain anxiety. Would you believe it? I get triggered wife. And because ndaichika mengo kumondoro and then touched your wife, ndaifunga kuti mengo. And from there, even talking about it now, I get triggered. So when we use the word mental health, that means overall tese, because we have something that frightens us. It's not about that. The brain is just like that.
Yeah.
It's just like that. And life events, especially in a very materialistic world that we live in now, that is so fast moving, we are open to depression. The key is learning to take care of yourself with pride, with dignity, with the understanding. If I leave it, just like cancer, just like diabetes, I'll lose my eyesight. I'll get my legs amputated if I don't take care of diabetes. In the same spirit, when it comes to mental health, learning to have a good relationship, not only with your medical doctor, but also with my psychiatrist, with my psychologist. Normalize it as much as possible. That's what I would recommend.
Wow, there is a question here, Auntie. Kwaina mutsai mija, how do you know kuti yapera? Depression.
So we normally use 1 or 2 guidelines kuti depression yapera. Depression haiperi per se. Depression, anxiety, that's why you constantly be triggered. You learn my skills to reduce the level of intensity.
Okay.
So one of the guidelines at Oshandisa bounce back. The first one is when you're able to wake up in the morning, you're optimistic, you take care of ADLs, and you're happy, Number 2, you engaging with family members. Now it's back to normal. You're concentrating on to promote, you're taking on my tasks before paying my bills, interacting, going to my social events, and not feeling like, because I don't know how many people know about Banbari depressed to go even wedding, and they describe feeling so alone, so alone. There are about 100 people around them,
they're alone.
They feel so alone. Yeah. So one of the things is report medication is on board, therapy is on board. Okay, this is normal. I'm now able to have sex. It's normal, because that's another thing. Those are separations that you wonder. Because when somebody is depressed, we see libido is very, very low. Okay. I don't know why we don't talk about that as much. Maybe we kind of shy away from talking about sex, but I have to mention that one of the biggest markers for depression is you get so annoyed. That is one of the things that we should also be very, very aware of.
Oh, that is linked to depression.
Oh, yes. The difference. Yes, the do's. So for depression, some libido gets really knocked down. But with a bipolar, we see people are like rabbits. Literally, they want to have sex on the go like hourly. I don't know.
Oh, it's the other way in a bipolar.
Yes. Bipolar, we see people kind of tend to be sex, then because we are disinhibited where even out in the open.
Oh.
Yeah. That we see in the mama diagnosis, but sticking to depression, one of the markers reporter is sex. I don't want sex, period. Sanbat. But munani depressed. They can't get it up. But women tends to report that, but even workers tend to report that.
Okay, whilst you're talking on that, Mataura Chapa, some 2 weeks ago we spoke nemurumaka wenyaya yake mukadzi wake yekuti achapa yekuti haakugeza achatodi anoswera akarara pasofa. And you mentioned that kuti munoona munhu ari chapa, but hamusi kuziva zvakatrigger kuti asvike ipapo. Now I'm thinking kuti tinenge pamwe tichitovapomera vanhu ava uchapa, and yet there are things that are going on behind closed doors.
I heard it, and Andre is so busy, Musioyo, and I couldn't phone in. And I heard it. I felt so bad for her, so bad. So here is something else. Thank you for reminding me about that. We often see postpartum depression. Postpartum depression. Munhu anozvara mwana wake, vanhu vakufara, and chichi. Then slowly you start seeing munhu achada kuyamwisa, achada kubata mwana, and you know, mwana maybe ndichamuuraya, kutya kuti ndingazouraya mwana, ndingazoita sei. And remember, semunhu anenge abva mukubetserwa, she's still bleeding, haasi kuda kugeza, kana kugeza mazino, bvudzi richagadzirwa. I remember seeing somebody aine weave kuseruku yakamira kudai, so you know, paanga karara. And everybody's just like, what the heck just happened again? Munoziva zvinhu zvatakubhadharira mari kuenda kuchikoro, zvinhu zvaizikanwa nevanhu vakuru vakare. Isu tiri vadiki taiti ukaroorwa waenda nana mbuya kana nana tete mumbogara newe month or 2 months.
Yeah.
Vachikubatsira kubika, vachikuti chiendai unogeza, uchibikirwa bota. You know, I remember when my in-laws from Kenya came in kuzondibatsira, vanga vaine bota ravaibika, mheno zvavaiisa mubota imomo, ndichifoseredzwa kunwa bota iroro. I'm sure maybe they'd seen that I was getting depressed, I don't know. But then bottom line is simple and straightforward. Let's stop apportioning blame and get back to, remember what the other lady said, always ask why rather than uri. What is happening? Mukadzi uyoya, from what the husband was saying, nekunyara kwakaita mukadzi wacho, I could tell, I seriously, I was like, my God, that could be postpartum depression, undiagnosed and untreated. So again, remember, the rule of thumb, let's not judge a person by the behavior. Let's always go back to the root cause. Chiri significant chaitika muupenyu. Chaita kuti munhu abehave the way yari kubehave. Is it kuti abva mukubetserwa? Is it kuti akafirwa latest, or akadzingwa basa, or maybe accommodation anzi vabve vakugara mu2 room vanga vakajaira kugara mu full house? So you have to always look at those kind of things. That's why I mentioned a word compassion. Compassion is the ability to kunzwira munhu tsitsi without judging. Nokuti tikada kumhanyira kunoti chimbotaurai naye vakandimana tete vachona kuti munhu anofanirwa kugezwa mbwiso kuti perfume. Nyangwe ndandichida kukudzai kuti pane zvimwe zvakatowanda zviri kuitika. I want to tell you,
Yeah.
you have shamed me.
True.
Here.
I hear you.
But if you sit down with me and you're like, hey, what's going on? When did you start feeling like this? Because another thing too, when we are talking about depression, depression, there's what we call situational crisis. There's also what you call it, I think old age. There's another thing too, whereby a change can cause you kind of depression symptoms. That's why you can never diagnose a person depression passing a period, maybe 6 months or 3 years or something like that. You can't just use those words. It's not over a time frame. You can mark, oh, okay, so now you are endorsing full depression, or it's situational, or it's transition. So it's always nice to go back,
All right.
tell me, and then talk to the loved ones too. And another thing too, I don't remember who I was talking to. Oh, we noticed this. And so I perform. It turned out that cancer, late stage.
Oh.
And people just no. and attributed to depression. So always be compassionate. Waone chichiri different, then take that person to hospital as soon as possible. As soon as possible. Let's normalize kuba nema relationships, nema doctors, kuba nema relationships, nema nurses, nema social workers, and so forth. Let's normalize. Those are the people who keep us well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. There is someone who commented in Africa, therapy is a luxury.
It's true.
So in that case, if it's a luxury and someone thinks they've got depression, are they, I know you, sorry, excuse me, you say to this other lady, I wouldn't encourage you, mangwana chaye and I'm no doctor. So in the case where we say it's luxury, what can they do to get help? Or to help? Sorry.
That is so sad. Yeah, I get you, Auntie Selena. Sorry for catching. That is so sad and so frustrating when we hear from Rakadaro, because, mental health, I costed that much, where medication and getting appropriate care is concerned. All I can say is I know, I don't know that much, and certain that couldn't later reach out to them. Maybe I should. This psychiatrist, Akachanga, program by the bench here or something like that, where people can go to Zimbabwe, you go and you talk to them and they help you. I don't know if anybody is aware of it. I've seen my videos actually online. Look, yes. Do you know another thing too? My doctors very young these days. You don't have to go to a psychiatrist, a psychologist for Prozac and everything else. It can be prescribed by anybody. My doctors very young these days are now being trained also to treat mental health.
Okay.
Because the Kwane model inons no right door. No right door meaning aita mental health ngachienda ku mental health department. Unokwanisa kuenda nezino chairo if dentist akataura newe akafela kuti zvina zvisi kubalansa, anokwanisa kuti chibongobuda uchienda muoffice ubva watono prescribe what you need to be prescribed.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm sure there's somebody out there who can actually help.
Yeah, someone has enlightened us, and the friendship bench.
There you go. I know that because he's a psychiatrist and he's really well invested in treating Zimbabwe. I would highly recommend people go and see him, without a doubt.
Wow. Antika, matipa chiedza chechiedza, and you have talked in depth. Zvokuti, I think vanhu vanzwa. Kunyange usina ku understand. We are going to keep this live. You can certainly go back and listen to what Auntie was saying. Let me take this opportunity to say thank you so much for jumping in. I'm glad we did the program because we had suspended it for a very long time. Chiti, I just wanna guess but I'm glad we did it and you came in aboard to share, and you did share a lot. Thank you so much, Auntie.
You're most welcome, Auntie Selena, and thank you. You're doing a great job. Women empowerment, people think women empowerment is challenging men. Women empowerment is exactly what you're doing, and God bless you for it. Thank you so much.
Before I release you, Auntie, what is your word when people see Munu Aripa live performing some other way? What is your word to people? Very comment section.
Do you know? I always term it macabre in the sense we know better. My generation isusu taita takakura tichinzwa namai vachiti ukaona umwe mukadzi achikanganisa so waenda neZambia unomufugidza womutora zvakanaka pasaidi kuti aiwa ko kwakanaka here mutaurirana, you know, that kind of thing. Yes, you know, it's like blood sport. The more people humiliate themselves, the more we cheer them on. It's very sad and very undignified. And you know, at a bigger picture, whilst we are doing that, and tisirikubatsirana mental health wise, that's international. That's our flag as Zimbabwean women. Those are the kind of things that we do. You know, the sad part is, if you notice, panozoita nyaya, and I always say it's like a Coca-Cola bottle. Ukatora bottle re-Coca-Cola ukarichukucha stereke zvezvi handiti ukarivhura rino explode. Munhu wese we are like Coca-Cola bottle. And the uchinoita kuti tive vanhu who care nesu vachona tichivhura mbijana tichivhura gasi riya richibuda. That's how we survive, handiti. And vana mukaona kune vai vanozoita zvinhu zvavo paFacebook zvinozopedzisa futi zvaexploda, and it's messy, it's embarrassing, it's humiliating. And all I can say is, let's be thy sister's keeper. Kuenda kumashure, are you okay? How can I help you? And some people will never listen to you because that's how they get validated as human beings. That's another session altogether about self-worth, because muiri wako should be chinchinoyembedzeka. You know, hauzi chincho kungoratidza vanhu. When we find people doing that, again, there's something going on in the background.
True.
So, however, kana uchikwanisa mune rudo mune zvakanaka behind the scenes, how about we talk? It doesn't mean kuti I want a recognition if you do something that dignifies you. We all forget internet is so unforgiving.
True.
20 years from today, your child will be holding that video and saying, can you tell me the meaning of this?
True. True.
So, in a nutshell, let's learn kusapembedza zvinhu zvatinonyatsoziva kuti zvikuru zvicharwadza umwe pamberi. Let's be vanhu vanovharidzana, vanoumbikana. I don't know. Each person to their own. I don't believe that it will help, but it's worth a try.
It's worth a try. Thank you so much, Andy.
All right.
You take care. You too.
Bye, everybody.
Stay blessed. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Wow. Chekuedera, to say the truth, apachisina, Auntie has said it all. This live ichachengetwa apa so that my Lolo, how are you? Okay, I can ask Yekuseri. I'll ask Yekuseri, and if she does say she can, then I'll mention it on the next live. I'll ask Yekuseri. Someone is saying, Auntie Selina, can you ask if she can help? I'll ask Yekuseri kuti, can she help? I think she has said it all. She has said it all. I was hoping there are so many that would want to come and share their stories about depression. But now that she has said what she has said, I don't know if it's okay for people to share. Kana kuti tozongoita iri different session where people share and we leave it at that with what we have heard. Anzina clinician vachitaura, kana uchifungira kuti une depression, manya unoonekwa, nekuti depression ino affecta your level of functioning. Ino affecta level yako yekufunctiona. Saka enda unobatsirwa. She did mention kuti I don't encourage people kuti vaite self-diagnose, because unogona kunge uchidiagnosa zvisipo kana kuti zvakatokura kupinda kwezvauri kudiagnosa. And also hanzi kwane ma-low dose ema-tablets aunogona kupiwa. So no matter which country you are in, kana uchikwanisa kunoona chiremba, ati ari ma-junior doctors ari kutrainwa mazuva ano, they are now able to help mental health issues. So she encouraged us to go and see a doctor, explain what's going on. If there is any medication ingango prescribe, then water. Wow, that was a lot. For me, I would even need to go back and listen to her, listen to what she was saying. As she said, she liked that lady ambotaura tese tine mental health, but my degree acho ndo asiyana. Chimwe chandanyanyobata ndechekuti kana tichiona munhu achiuya achiita zvaanenge achiita, let's be a sister's keeper, because pamwe itori coping mechanism yavo iyoyo yezvavari kuita. Let's not go on and cheer, but in the comment section imomo, let's be a sister's keeper. Aikona kuti kana munhu akatanura makutoisa comment yekuti tione. Let's be a sister's keeper. As I said, chekutaura kana chekuwedzera hapana. If you go back to the live, tichatanga ta explain as depression and my signs and symptoms as we were starting. You can always go back and look at the live. I'm sincerely hoping munikuita Easter yakanaka mangwana Easter Monday. And I think that is the end of our session today. Yeah, depression. However, let me take this opportunity whilst I'm on live to send my condolences to those people vakarasikirwa neupenyu hwavo nemvura dzakaitika kuSouth Africa. On behalf of everyone in my diaries, tinoti nematambudziko. Wanirwa inyasha panguva ino yamunenge muchichema nekutsvaga vamwe vasati vawanikwa, nekutsvaga vadikani venyu vakashaya. Also something that has been on my mind. Let me take this opportunity to say congratulations kuna maititi. My when aikwainzi kunochatwa futi. Aikwainzi ndinonochata futi kudzokera kunochata. Hai zvamaititi ndaikopa. She looked beautiful, exquisite, elegant. I liked her gown. Yekeke rinoenda mudenga. Oh my God, the venue. Vanhu vanga vakachena wedu yana checking karanda vana lolo. Avana ngalo. Ana mbuya waPearson wanga wariko ana biwe jira. People were looking. They were looking. So baba na mai maposa. Congratulations. Iyo yenyu ndai ndinoikopa iyo wedding yenyu. Iyo ndinokopa. It was, for me, it was to the point. It was to the point. From gown to evening wear yavo. It was something else. It's a very good night from me. And have a blessed night and enjoy the rest of your Easter. Let me leave a word of encouragement. If you think or you're feeling depressed, go and see a doctor. Please. Zvichiri pedyo. Ngatiendei tinoona ana chiremba. Just like kuona ana chiremba kwatinoita ne any other disease. Ngatiendei tinoona ana chiremba. Ndatenda zvangu. Mova nemadekwani akanakisisa. Love you all, and it's a very good night from me. Ciao, ciao.